Welcome to Will's World, your will overall, powered by Third Gen Physical Therapy and Sports Science Institute.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening, whenever you're listening. Thanks for listening. We're back with another one. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, comment, leave questions in the comments, and we'll definitely address those questions or give us episode ideas, and we'll definitely create those episodes in order to make sure we reach all our audiences. So, with that being said, let's get rolling. Today's episode is titled Mississippi versus Alabama Football All-Star Game. We have a problem. When I say we, I mean the state of Mississippi. Now, this talk is going to be basically built on three pillars. That's my style. That's what I do. And with that, we're going to kind of just dive in deep on what's going on, why is it going on from my perspective. And we want to get the conversation started because, like I spoke about in the previous episode about basketball in this state, we have this same problem with football. And we've been having it for a while. People have allowed it to be because we kind of sort of hung our hat on something. But now we're at a point where it needs to change. So if you are not from the state of Mississippi or Alabama, maybe this pod doesn't do it for you. But we're just talking about how football, how sports, how coaching, how kids, how just the whole culture that surrounds everything within the sport of football is changing. In this state, we're really seeing a decline. So the first part, we're going to discuss how Mississippi looked like a JV team when they were playing against Alabama last week. The next thing that's very, very of note is that our QB positions in this state are terrible. We have a handful of schools who will like to, say that, hey, they have really good QBs. And we have like one or two guys in the state, from time to time who are legit, but they don't always make the team. And then some of them are in the private school setup. And I like to argue that it doesn't matter what association that you're in. I think the problem is far beyond just the QB, being better. I just feel like that we don't put the best players out there, if that makes any sense. And last but not least, just like basketball, the state has been watering down the classifications. And as a result of that, we are here at this point. So now, the first part of the talk, we look like a JV team. The O-line and defensive line play just was horrible. We were getting pushed around. We couldn't push them around, and we couldn't protect our quarterbacks. We're running offenses that just oh my goodness, look like they should be just burned and thrown away in the trash can. And it's because it's an all-star game. As a result, you can't implement so much offense. I get it. Coaches are going to give you this complex answer. But if you watch that game, it didn't like all-stars that we put in that particular game. So for me, that goes further, right? It means that at the state level, there's a problem that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lack of accountability, a lack of development, a lack of a lot of things. And it's because, if we're being honest here, a lot of the Mississippi High School Athletic Association setup is for what they've done and not done or try to create, and it's a big mess right now. And I'm not going to dive into the politics of it because I can care less about the politics of it. If you want to figure out the politics of it, you'll look deeper into it. I'm going to talk about just how competition, school to school, coaches, school to school, players, school to school, it's just not good. You know how you used to have a ranking in the state where at one point in time we would have about 15 players a year, maybe 20. There were legit players, like you knew. And you have some times that the talent would be down a little bit, right? But for the most part, in this world of modern college football and modern high school football, you pretty much know who's who. And they may not get enough credit because of the classifications and so on and so forth, but you are very aware of what's going on as far as in the state and who's talented. Now, we also used to have that player every year that was just elite. You just knew, like this year, I think it's Tristan Keys out of Hattiesburg. If you were to ask me and put a gun to my head, I think he's the best player in this state. And the the thing that's going on now is that a lot of those kids are just not going to the schools in the state when it comes to college. That's another conversation for another time. Is money involved? The agents involved? There's a lot of just nonsense going on, which is cool. I don't care about that. I'm just here to talk about the development. We can't be this inept as a state when it comes to competing with a bordering state. The reason for that is because either play the All-Star game to win, or let's just cancel the All-Star game and have an in-state All-Star game, and we just give out participation trophies. Because there's obviously not a competitive deal in this. Some years ago, there was some politics that kind of bled into this whole thing of high school All-Star selection, where certain coaches from certain schools wanted their guys on the team if they were coaching the team, the All-Star team, and some of these guys should not have been on the team. And then we were not recognizing or giving guys from smaller schools an opportunity to be on the team. I'm not going to name names. There's some egregious acts out here. We're going to just act like that wasn't a thing, but now we know that it was a thing. Now, if we transition to one of the positions that I feel is the worst in this state, has been the worst for a long time, it's the QB position. Now, every state is different. I feel like the past year, maybe like a year ago, I would say during that recruiting class with Deuce Knight and Kamario Taylor, I think those are the two best prospects we've had out of state in a while. And there are some extenuating circumstances there. Kamario Taylor is the I want to say nephew, I think, of Omar Connor, who played football at Knoxville County High. And great football player, by the way. In high school, oh my goodness. Friday Night Lights, had to watch the guy. He's played college ball. He's coached at different places. So Kamario had a different level of assistance, not just from Omar, but from other people that he probably had access to. And it's very obvious that this kid has been developed, right? And what I mean by that, there's no penalty to him. That's awesome. But he came from a school that does not normally have that level of QB talent, because most of the time when kids are that talented and they are the best athlete, we put them at quarterback and we don't teach them how to play quarterback. We teach them how to run the football from the QB position. That's all we do in this state. There are certain places like Oak Grove, Hattiesburg, Starkville High, from time to time, Brandon, certain schools that are different. But if you notice, I named those schools, but there's not a lot of other schools throughout the classifications that are the same. And to be honest with you, the divisions within the state, as far as the classifications, are really just watered down. I remember at one point in time, if you were in 6A in this state and you were in the classification of basically Warren Central, South Panola, Starkville, Clinton, those teams, it was basically the baby SEC of the state. Uber competitive. And honestly, a lot of your best talent came out of that particular bubble, believe it or not. But as far as the QB position, we just haven't put out QBs that are worth a flip. And I don't mean it like demeaning the kids. I'm just saying we haven't put out QBs that are equitable or even comparing to the states that we're going against or having to play against in the All-Star game, which is Alabama, as well as on Saturdays when we have those QBs. And most of those guys who are starting QB for the in-school universities, in-state universities, are not from here. With that being said, it's because our development of the QB position is piss poor. It just is. Half of them don't know what cover 2 or cover 3 holes look like. They don't understand progressions of reads. And when I say that, it doesn't mean they can't, though. I think these kids are very, very talented. I think the coaches restrict them because it's about winning. I'm going to say this, and people are going to be mad, and I'm okay with that. The kid that plays quarterback at Warren Central, right, Nash Morgan, an exceptional athlete. There's no doubt about it. Turn on the tape, kid is an exceptional athlete. Exceptional. He's a junior, getting ready to be a senior. And I bet you won't find him in the rankings of the top 15 in the state next year for quarterback. He just won a state championship. I think the best player in the game. I think like as far as like awards and whatever. So the kid is uber talented. He won't be a quarterback. He won't be on the quarterback rankings. Why? Development. I think the kid could probably play quarterback. He has the measurables, but it's a development. You can't just all of a sudden hop out and play quarterback. You have to be kind of sort of, in this realm of like developing gradually over time. So when you show up, you're not so far behind the eight ball. Where in this day of college football, they're not going to develop you like that. They have to win games, right? So in short, what I'm saying, we have kids that are uber talented, but most of those kids are at the quarterback positions are just the best athletes on the team, and they're just running the ball, using athleticism, and trying to help the coach at the school win games. But I don't think enough coaches are developing players. Take a step further. Our cornerback position in this state. Oh my God. Most of the time, your cornerbacks in college who get offers out of high school in this state, they're playing quarterback. Seriously, they're playing quarterback or they're playing, like maybe receiver or something like that. Like they end up going to DB. Like I'm dead serious. Is he safety or cornerback? They're going to be from your quarterback position. We don't have corners that most of the time are straight up corners. Somebody's going to hop in the comments and name like one or two guys or maybe five guys. Like I bet you could not find five corners that played at the D1 level in the same class during that year who got offers who played and were productive in their career. I bet you couldn't find five in the same class. They'll find them out through the years, like one here, two there, one there. And we're known as a defensive state. Some of the best defensive players in the league, defensive lineman, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, Fletcher Cox, and I keep going. We are known for a defensive state. Darius Slay, he's not from this state, but he played at Mississippi State. Jonathan Banks was in the league. He was a corner from this state. Emmanuel Forbes from Grenada. He's in the league now. He's revived his career, thank God. So we have defensive guys. Like, got some guys. Development is piss poor. Now, for everybody who's arguing about that the private school quarterback should be included, I'm okay with that. I want all kids to have an opportunity to be able to show, you know, to show that they can do more and be at the same level. But they need to fix their issues in the private school sector. Please tell me how the playoff seeding is done in this state when it comes to Mississippi private schools. I'll wait. I'm pretty sure if you were to Google a certain school or a certain place, you will probably find out that, hey, there's some weird things about the seating, right? So I would like to kind of just say this out loud. If you are in a let me see, a private school and you're playing football and you're a coach. I mean, not a coach, but and you're coaching or you're playing, you're probably only at about 3 or 4 places that have the better talent in the state, period. You're either MRA, JA, Hartfield, Jackson Prep. Seriously. That's 4 schools in the whole state. Somebody's gonna go grab a random person from a random place in the state one year or whatever. But I guarantee it, it's 4 places. And the reason that they even have the talent they have is recruiting. They get a chance to recruit. They go pick kids from other schools, and offer them these different situations, and some kids can afford to go there, because they're talented. So let's just stop this. What I'm talking about is that's not the answer. The answer is you have to start developing not just at one place or one particular place in the state. You have to start to have some level of development throughout the state. There has to be some level of accountability within these programs that should be more viable, right? We're going to produce some running backs in this state. I guarantee you that. We're going to produce some DBs. We'll have a D line every now and then. That's pretty elite. But for the most part, like we're kind of in a bad spot, man. And I feel very sad about it because just like with basketball, I feel like the watering down of the classifications, trying to how can I say this? Trying to expand the classifications for the optics over the years, not just 6A going 7A, but over the years has effectively decreased the amount of talent because of the lack of competitiveness within classifications. I promise you, people are going to pick a handful of schools in these classifications that are good. You can't really find competitive schools within these classifications where it's about 10 schools a year that you're like, yeah, these schools right here in this classification, they have a chance to really get in the playoffs and win it. It's not because it's so spread out now. So as a result, there's a lack of development. And if a coach is not good one year, it doesn't matter anymore. They don't get fired. And I'm not saying people should lose their jobs. But at what point in time do we suck at an actual sport as a 7A school or 6A or 5A school who have the resources and probably have the amount of talent necessary? And we don't say, hey guys, we have an issue here because a lot of kids there who have the ability, this is how they can get to school and pay for their college and get their lives in a space where they can be productive and stable. Because it should be about the kids. It shouldn't just be about you know we won a championship for the city. I know a lot of teams who kids won championships for the city. You probably got one kid off the team that maybe gets to school and be able to qualify. Just keeping it real with you. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. People don't want to have this conversation. And here's the thing about it. I haven't mentioned a particular school in the sense of this is a problem, that's a problem. No, I'm just speaking in general. The reason I haven't mentioned schools is because if I were to sit here and call out schools, people would lose the sight of the fact that this school is good, this school is bad. No, I want you to know, like, there are some schools in this state that are very viable. Keyword, some, a few. It's not enough. When we were growing up, back in the day, man, there was a lot of schools throughout the state that just really had really good talent. Like just really good talent all over. You could really recruit between the 15 and 20 ranked players. Grab about 5 of them every year. 2 or 3 of those are going to be viable, productive starters for your team. It's not like that anymore. A lot of people like say, well, it's because nobody can nobody can hide anymore. Everybody is evaluated properly. That's a lie. It's not enough evaluation that goes around the state anyway. Like it's not. Let's just stop. That's a lie. You get people who are the top guys are evaluated properly, but it's like turning on the tape and watching Tristan Keys play. Don't need much evaluation. I can see it with my own eyes. That kid's good. Just some guys are elite. So don't tell me that you evaluating at that level. It's not. It's not. It's the same thing as 15 years ago as far as like the people who are getting the eyes on the players. A lot of people who are evaluating these players don't know what they're looking at anyway. Like some of them are just, journalists who are doing a great job at their institutions, and they get paid money to go look at a player and try to figure out a system to rank them. And it's not good. The main newspaper in this state is not great at having even a high school person that covers, sports anyway. The Danny dozen rankings are just not good. Like it's so much lack of accountability when it comes to how this state could be so much better in sports for said kids to get to said places. It was just watching the Mississippi Alabama All-Star game that just made me think to myself, what are we doing? Like, what are we really doing? We're just showing up here to say we showed up, or we're trying to really compete and play and have an actual productive how can I say this, weekend to be able to showcase the talent so some of these kids can get maybe even more looks and more offers. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. For everybody made it to the point of the episode, man, thank you so much for listening. If it hits you, in the place that you want to discuss it or talk about it, hop in the comments. It'd be great. If some of you all heard this and maybe not interested in it, I understand that too. Maybe it's not your state or your place. Maybe it's not the sport you like. But I like to kind of touch on a bunch of topics. So you will hear me talk about a bunch of things. And some things are not for you, but it's just for to start the conversation on it. And hopefully going forward, man, we can help these kids get to where they want to go. I really thank everybody who always presses play and share and like and subscribe. We appreciate you all. And hopefully you keep listening. Until the next time, hope you have a blessed one. I'll catch you in the next one.